Well, talking about fakes and frauds, let's have some breaking news on Adam Schiff. This was reported on Fox News earlier today that the Democrat Senator is under criminal investigation for mortgage fraud. What more can you tell me about this, CJ?
It's an insane story. This is an individual who apparently, claimed a primary residence, of course, in California, the state where he represents, albeit poorly, but also claimed another property, which, of course, amounts to mortgage fraud. What this story actually reminds us of, and should remind all of our viewers of here, is that Democrats are everything they accuse Republicans of being. They call us lawbreakers. They're the lawbreakers. They call us, completely ignorant of the rule of law. They are ignorant of the rule of law. And thank God now we have actual DOJ that's committed to actually rooting out actual crime and fraud and abuse. And Adam Schiff, as someone who was one of the leading gaslighters when it came to the Russia collusion hoax, I'm glad to see now that he is finally being kind of examined under the spotlight, which is long overdue.
Now, CJ, before you go, the New York Post has a report today on how Donald Trump was debanked by two of America's biggest banks, JP Morgan and Bank of America. And it appears that the January 6th riot was used by the Biden administration's banking regulators and the Federal Reserve to put pressure on banks to deny service to Donald Trump. This is sinister stuff, CJ. How widespread was this?
Incredibly widespread. And this isn't just sinister, it's just downright disgusting, right? I think that when you have an entire ideology of people who are treated as second-class citizens in a country that supposedly believes in freedom of expression and freedom of speech, that is no longer the America that I know. It's not the America that I love. And I think, there is this lie that existed for a long time that Joe Biden was going to be the centrist president, right? The centrist Democrat who would govern from the middle. Everything that we learn more about this president and the way in which he conducted himself shows us to be that was absolutely untrue. He was a radical puppet who was controlled by his puppeteers and who weaponized the entire government against a class of people who did not believe as he did. And so I think that, again, investigations must ensue. We must figure out who actually called these shots to execute the weaponization of government against a private citizen, as Donald Trump was at the time, isn't just grossly wrong, but it reeks of criminality. And I think that we need to take a hard look at that and get justice where it is deserved.
CJ Pearson, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much, Rita.